What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? We are back again with another Legends of Runeterra video, and today we are going to be covering a quick little series I'm going to do for people that are potentially getting into the game and want decks that are recommended for climbing up to the Masters rank. So we're going to start off with the deck that I'm pretty sure everyone would recommend. It's a great beginner deck, and you aren't going to go wrong really with crafting these cards. So we are going to cover the Bannerman archetype, and we're going to be covering two different archetypes actually today. We're going to be covering the Scouts archetype, and we're going to be covering the Vi Bannerman, which I think is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, Bannerman archetype out there right now. So we're just going to quickly go over both the lists here. In the video, I actually played a slight variation of this list, which Home Michel was able to win the European Duels of Runeterra tournament this last weekend with. He played two of Genevieve Elmhart here, which is this card right here. I just switched it up because I'm kind of gearing this towards people that maybe are looking for decks to craft to climb with, and I don't think Genevieve Elmhart is a particularly strong craft because she doesn't fit into the typical Bannerman type lineups. She really only fits in Scouts, and she hasn't really found a home in any other type of archetype, so I don't think she's a particularly strong craft for the cost. I mean, you'd be dumping, I have all three, but I think it's like 1200 per epic, which is pretty steep for a card that is not that versatile. So this list was also playing two of Purify, which I think is okay on ladder. I don't think it's the best, so I decided to cut it as well, because it's pretty useless in like aggro matchups, and it's pretty useless in a lot of different, it's decent in like for specific targets, but I don't think it's particularly strong on the ladder. So I cut those as well, and we instead bumped up one riposte, and instead, since we cut this, we add 3 Cithri of the Bold, which I think is a much stronger craft if you're going to be crafting cards with just starting a collection, because it fits into pretty much every Demacia Bannerman archetype, so you can switch it up with the Demacia archetypes and pretty much guaranteed play Cithria. She's an insanely strong card. I think she's definitely a little bit stronger than Genevieve overall, and I think she's a safer craft, so that's why I switched it up a little bit. But for the Bannerman archetype, well, I guess we're going with Scouts here first, obviously, but it's kind of a variation of Bannerman, or the Demacia type archetypes. We're not playing Bannerman in this, but play the Fleet Feather Tracker with the Bright Steel Protector, as well as the War Chefs. These are kind of your bread and butter 1-2 drops. You're definitely looking for these. We also play the Hired Gun, which can kind of get you a favorable trade at some point in the game, because the Scouts are generally kind of weak early. Get you like a favorable trade, or if they're looking to preserve a strong creature with like 1 health or something, you can bring it out with and damage it with the Misfortune ability here on the attack. So the Love Tap obviously dealing 1 damage to all battling enemies in the enemy nexus, so you can get a favorable trade with a vulnerable enemy, try and take out one of the strong targets potentially with like the Love Tap, or just like a favorable trade with like War Chef's Fleet Feather Tracker or something like that. Like you can potentially like Fleet Feather Tracker into like Hired Gun, I guess, and potentially take out like something with 3 health if you have the Misfortune next turn on curve or something along those lines. We played 2 of Relentless Pursuit. This is a really important card. I end up keeping it a lot in a lot of my opening hands just because we want to go as wide as possible early and find a turn before the opponent is potentially able to stabilize to get a Relentless Pursuit off to potentially get like, an extra like 5 to 8 damage, and then we really shorten their clock and make it so that they really can't find a turn to stabilize and just kind of steal the game away from them. We play the Loyal Badger Bear, obviously, as well as the Grizzled Ranger. This is our bread and butter like mid-game kind of drops, and they're just hugely overstated. And I guess this one's not hugely overstated, but it drops a 4/4 on its last breath effect, so it's pretty overstated. pretty good cost. And then we play the Island Navigator here. 4-drop that splits into 2 bodies. You get a random 1-cost unit from any region, and it gets Scout, so you can potentially power up your Quinn and MF here with multiple Scout attacks, try and level them up as quickly as possible with your rallies. You most likely will be able to level them up pretty quickly unless you're playing against Shadow Isles and they have like the nuts or something with a couple of grasps, which definitely happens, but that's kind of the luck of the draw. 2 of Riposte, like I said, we bumped it up. We want a little bit more combat tricks. We play the Ranger's Resolve as well to potentially get those favorable trades, because we're going to be attacking a lot, and we want to potentially be able to, you know, kill their creatures, keep ours alive, and preserve them for future attacks. Then we play the Quinn, 3 of, obviously. She has very similar level, exact same level up condition actually to MF, and when she levels up, she summons a Valor that challenges the strongest enemy. So you can, you know, if you get her leveled up, you can yoink over their like Radiant Guardians or something off to the side if they drop something like that, or some other lifesteal thing, or just some big creature. You can just yoink it away, prevent it from getting a favorable trade, and you know, push for major damage with your scouts and all your other rally and stuff effects, like the whole deck is trying to do. This whole deck is just trying to aggro the opponent down with multiple attacks per turn, multiple damaging effects with like MF, Love Tap, and everything like that. Just trying to whittle the opponent down and get them before they can stabilize with their mid-game to late-game stuff, potentially. And then, like I said, we play 3 of Cithria. Cithria is just completely disgusting. She's basically a champion. That's how much value she really brings. It's at the 6-drop cost. Giving everything else +1/+1 and fearsome for the round is disgusting. And if you get multiple attacks with her, it just, you know, just kind of snowballs from there. So, I mean, that's pretty much this list. We can jump over and cover the second list for the day here, which will be the Vi Bannerman. And this is a different take on the Bannerman. We play 1 of Purify in this. I think it's a little bit better because we're going more of a mid-range kind of strategy instead of the straight aggro. So we can like Purify a Radiant Guardian if they put some sort of unyielding on a follower. We can purify that away as well. But we're playing essentially the same early game with the Fleet Feather, Brightsteel, War Chefs, and instead we're playing single combats because we have more highly statted units, so we can potentially find favorable single combat targets for this spell specifically. We play 3 of Fiora. I mean, 3/3 Challenger for 3 is insane. I don't think you're really... There might be some fringe situation where you level her up and look for the OTK with her leveled up form, but that's not essentially what you're trying to accomplish here. So she's mostly there for her body, getting extra stats with like the Bannerman and just getting favorable trades with her Challenger effect. And that's again why we play 2 of Lauren Protege as well. She's there. This is essentially like a 4th and 5th copy of Fiora, because you are looking to get more stats with like War Chefs and Bannerman and just get favorable trades and whittle down your opponent's board and resources, and then eventually just overwhelm them with all of your like overstated units that have favorably traded a few times. So and again, we play the Loyal Badger Bear Grizzled Ranger combo. 3 of her posts in this, just because we can get a little, again, we're going for more of a mid-range, closer to a mid-range strategy, so we will most likely find more uses for this later on in the game. And then Vanguard Bannerman, the Allegiance effect grants all other allies +1/+1, so when you summon this, it gets Allegiance if the top card of your deck matches the Demacia region, specifically for this card. So since we play 3 of Vi, sometimes you will miss, but it's very unlikely. And it's worth it to play Vi because she's such an insanely valuable 5-drop. We have the Radiant Guardian as well for 5-drop. You can potentially cut this if you're not... If you are... You can potentially cut like 1 or 2 copies if you're facing aggro and you are not drawing it, so that you could potentially put like Cithria of the Cloud Field in here, just to have a little bit more of that early game pressure and stuff to like match your opponent's drops if they're playing a bunch of aggro stuff. But I feel if you're able to draw this and you don't get completely clunked out by drawing like all of your top end and you still have some of this in the early game, you can play around getting this on board, and unless they have exactly what they need, eventually you reach a point where you play this, and if it has its effects, they can't attack anymore because you're just healing more than they're able to attack for. And unless they have exactly the spells they need to go over the top of you, then you can just win the game pretty much on the spot when this drops down. Especially if you save it with like a single combat, you can remove a creature and yeah, just completely shut them out of the game. So if you're facing too much aggro and you're not wanting to potentially play this, or you like maybe don't even want to craft it for its cost, then I would just, you know, cut this down, put in Cithria of the Cloud Field or something like that. But overall, this is like an insane card, so it's kind of a hard cut, I would say. Depends on like obviously what you're facing. I'm not sure exactly what the lower brackets are kind of flooded with. I've definitely heard more burn and more Shadow Isle stuff, so yeah, I mean, you could potentially, you have to feel it out and then go from there. Like I said, we play the Vi, again, just a super value 5-drop, potentially like by the time you drop it, it's like almost pretty much guaranteed to be like a 5 or 6 power, and then 5 toughness, so like a 6/5 for 5 with challenger and tough. I mean, it's pretty insane. You get like value trades unless they interact with it somehow, guaranteed. And if she levels up, she's putting on so much pressure. So that's why we play her. If she gets buffs on her, she's also just insane with the toughness. And then we play again 3 Cythria. So yeah, she fits in pretty much any Demacia archetype because she's just so insane. We talked about her a little bit before. And then we play one of Brightsteel formation. Just if the game goes to this point and you're against another mid-range type strategy, it could be pretty insane for stopping attacks. And then also, like, I mean, it's just insane. Like, it stops an attack completely dead in its tracks if it comes down and you have a big enough board. And then on every attack, they are just under so much pressure to block your stuff. They're under so much pressure to block your stuff because they all have barrier, and then they're not even getting like good value trades off of it as well. So pretty insane card. And I mean, that pretty much covers it. I think this is pretty standard like Vibe Bannerman at this point, and the other one's pretty standard Scouts. You could potentially switch up some cards if you don't. I mean, you could not craft this as well. This is like, I wouldn't say necessary at all for the deck. So if you could cut this for like a Cythria as well, and like so cut like one of these and one of these for a Cythria, and then if you don't have like all the champions, I guess like if you don't want to have full Vise, that's probably fine as well. You could probably cut down one Vi and just do like something like this with like one less Vi. Ideally, you have the Cythrias, one less Brightsteel, and then what was the other? And then like one less Radiant Guardian. You could do something like that, and that would be just as good. I mean, not just as good, obviously. You want that top end, but it's like essentially the same. You'd lose like maybe 1 or 2% win rate at that. You might even, I mean, the consistency would be slightly better with the Bannerman too. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all for those 2 lists. And yeah, we're going to be continuing this series with the other 2 decks that I think are in a prime spot in terms of like climbing the lower brackets, which is a very linear control deck, which is Karina control. We'll be covering that probably tomorrow, and then the day after that we'll be covering Burn, which is what I personally used to climb to Masters, and I think is probably one of the most well-poised decks to climb to Masters. It's just like, even in its bad matchups, if it draws well enough, it just can absolutely steal a game away from your opponent. So, and the games are so fast that you'll get a bunch of games in. If your time is like super valuable and you don't have that much time to play, then you'll get as many games as possible really with the Burn archetype. So, but that's it for these lists. I hope you enjoy the gameplay. That's if you stick around for it, obviously I hope you do. But yeah, thanks so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you around in the future. Bye bye. I think I just played against this guy. We kind of need rally, but we also kind of need like early stuff. Like more early pressure stuff, and hope that he whiffs his stuff. We draw the Purify. It's like a curse. This card's a curse. We just need to cut it. It's so bad. Our lonesome 1-drop that's gonna get Vile Feasted. Yep. Well, he hasn't had any toss cards yet, so.
Eat the trash! Eat the trash! Where the trash?
The ocean charts our course.
Wow. That's really bad for us. we have the Purify for the lifesteal. I don't know, we're definitely in trouble though.
Alright, let's mess some folks up.
This is our way.
Blast you, wiggle!
Sand could be pretty clunky. Sand is not clunky at all. He drew all of his toss stuff. I wish I could draw hands like this. Double Dead Bloom, double Dreg Dredgers. Yeah, I wish I could have hands like this, man. He really has to have like a super dead hand from here, but I kind of doubt he does. It'd be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'm up. Here we go.
Could have the Nautilus.
Nothing gets between me and my mark.
I think this is the best.
You best start running.
I mean, he has Whale or he has Nautilus, and if he has both, then like... Okay, he has Salvage, which means he might have the Whale, but he's going deep, which means he also might have the Obliterate guy. Looks like he probably has the Obliterate guy.
I will tend this garden.
You'll pay.
There's plenty of killing left.
This has to be GG, yeah. GG. He probably had the Vile piece there, or
We're safe
the Ranger.
for now.
Alright. Nice, GG's. Got a couple wins in there, a couple quick wins. That's kind of what this deck is for, just to getting those quick wins in there, obviously. Coronavirus. Okay. We want a lot of early game pressure here. That's a decent amount. This could actually be pretty disgusting.
I'll burn for what I've done. Let's get to it. Flavor and spice.
I think we bank the spell mana here.
I can't fight on an empty stomach.
It's probably gonna have remembrance. Oh no, okay. Well that's
Slow down, will you?
Dangerous waters.
Here we
that's
go.
fine, I guess. That's as good as it's gonna get. On that purified, like there's no way it gets better than that.
Got your back.
Always forward.
Feel eat up, friend.
Judgment, that's interesting. It seems pretty weak. So the question is, do I kill his board or do I push 7 more damage? I think I'll just push 7 damage.
Something to keep us moving.
We are an aggro deck at the end of the day. That's a really good draw.
Nothing but the stink of blood and sweat.
Fortune favors the
Alright.
bold.
The ocean is no place for the weak.
Single combat maybe? Remembrance, okay. Probably should have played that first, yeah. So, I think we just go Genevieve, Elmhart here.
Force to the end.
I mean, I could have just gone for lethal with the MF ability, but you never know. You could have like a health pot. Did he just AFK?
Alright, let's mess some folks up.
I don't know. I mean, I could just full attack here, but he's at 3. I mean, like, and we have rally, so
Their pride will cost them.
we'll just take out the high priority targets. I could have dragged this in actually to pop it. Well, that's like all of his mana.
Return me.
Yeah, and that also doesn't kill this, so... Definitely an interesting call. Yeah, GG. GG.
Fortune smiles.
Fortune. I guess people are back to playing Burn on ladder again.
Explosives primed.
If I can get a Bright still here, that'd be pretty sweet. That's not it. And we got a Boom Crew. Man, bummer. That is a bummer.
They'll never see it coming.
Better run.
Maybe we have the Badger Bear coming down this turn at least. And there's the Bright Steel. Come on, man.
I'm ready.
That's good though.
I'll try anyone once.
This is really gonna suck if he has
Always
the.
two steps ahead.
Okay, he has Precious Book. Does he have another one drop though?
Don't mind me.
Okay.
Time to go. Backfired.
Look what you.
Let them eat souls.
All down.
Okay, well he wasted that at least.
Justice will be served.
Now we can't even attack at least.
Remember the objectives.
Ugh, come on, man.
Make the Empire proud.
Who does not know the name Laurent?
Why is my mouse like lagging? It's so weird. We have to put like as much pressure on him as possible, because he's probably gonna try and do some combat trick that avoids this taking damage.
You for the
Oh boy.
Raise the banner. Lift our spirits.
That's twice today that we played the Bannerman, the only 2 times, and we hit a Vi on the top, man. Oh dear, dude. It's just insane. It's just insane. Oh dear.
Your path ends here.
He actually does on 4. That's pretty sad. Okay, well he wasted that to heal 5, I guess. Like, we actually would have lethal here if we just hit that Bannerman, and of course we don't. It's so crazy, dude. I actually just can't catch a break with this deck. The only 2 times we've played Bannerman today so far, we've hit Vi on the top. And we're gonna lose because of it. I mean, maybe not. It's just so sad. And then we top deck a single combat later. Okay, well GG. It didn't matter, but it's just like a little bit tilting. A little bit tilting for sure. Developed. He doesn't have a single 2-drop. Or a 1-drop, I guess. That's okay. I mean, that's fine with me. When he does his development, gets punished by pretty much anything that I can play on 2.
I have my orders. My shield is yours.
Strength and grace, beauty in the blade.
That was like the best 3-drop we could ask for. Interesting.
Remember the objectives. For the
Wow.
glory of Noxus.
Okay.
You call this? Aha!
Protect and strike.
Your path ends here.
A disgrace.
He's okay. I mean, this is fine with me. Ooh, that's so sweet.
They'll never see it coming. Behind ya.
Okay.
Slow down, will you? Coming in hot!
Why wouldn't you develop that? It's so strange.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is gonna be like GG for him on the spot. Oh. Alright.
Let's make it deep.
Then I guess we're going like this.
Got your back.
If you waste burn on this, okay, that's fine. Holy shoot.
I can do this.
Okay, well he's gonna attack, so...
Just gonna put this here. Quit your yapping. Better run. Oh.
Okay.
I fight for the fallen.
His last card being... I mean, we definitely just develop, right? Actually, we could just riposte twice, right? Okay. GG. GG. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Only getting 10 for a diamond player makes sense. Accelerator. Okay. I mean, I kind of want to put back the Radiant Guardian, honestly. I kind of want to put back the Bright Steel, even. I don't know, the Bright Steel's probably better than the War Chefs. Actually, is it? Because I can get yoinked by the Fleet Feather Tracker. One drop? No, okay. What? Nice, okay.
Flavor and spice. Feed Demacia.
I guess we just pass.
I long for a worthy opponent.
Man. I guess we just pass.
Hand to the face.
Hold down.
I guess we're just gonna riposte here. I know I'm taking on my 4/4 for free. But then it trades, I guess. So I guess it wouldn't be for free.
Can't fight on an empty stomach.
It's definitely a bit awkward.
No one goes hungry.
That's pretty good. Maybe just go like this.
Feel the heat up, friend. Can you stomach this?
Does he have a Bannerman that he's trying to play or something?
You're covered. My shield is yours.
I guess I could have played a Radiant this turn. I mean, maybe that was better. Radiant into Cithria might be better. Like, letting the warships go down, having Radiant into Cithria is pretty insane, actually. He's gonna have Sedge soon, though.
You're covered.
Oh, wow. That's a little annoying.
Break their spirits and their swords. Batter 'em.
My steel is yours.
No one goes hungry. Taste the to glory! Eat up, friend!
I can't really prevent the Sejuani level ups. I could just go Warships and a Bannerman this turn. Is it Warships and a Bannerman, or is it Cithria? It looks like he's potentially going to use a single combat. Yeah, okay.
I lost?
I don't know, maybe Warships and a Bannerman. That's pretty good though. I mean, now it's kind of a tough call. If he plays Sejuani this turn, we're in a lot of trouble.
Smell that? A fight's a cooking!
I'm definitely worried about him just having a Sejuani in hand. It's not leveled, but it's still just like... still just a problem for sure. I mean, I guess I'd rather... I actually probably should play something that forces his Sejuani, I guess. But, I mean, this next turn I can play Radiant into... It's a lot of stats, man.
One banner, one destiny.
I think we just end the round. I'll play the Radiant this turn. They have a single combat too, which is nice. So now he has to destroy something if he wants to open develop. Which means we'll probably open attack, which means we get favorable trades. Potentially. Okay.
To no one.
But it wasn't really a surprise. We're kind of expecting him to play Sejuani. I mean, we do kind of want Radiant this turn, I think. I think this is the turn we really do want Radiant. I mean, we could also just play Cithria in single combat.
In a long path to get
Let me play Cithria in case he has some dumb Fury of the North stuff.
Feel the sizzle!
protect and strike. My steel is yours.
No one goes hungry! Defend our banner!
Fall by my sword. Stand for what's right.
A delicious challenge!
I guess we do it like this.
A morsel of...
Press on. My duty's done.
Slow down, will you?
That was a really good top deck.
My shield is yours.
Soldiers, to me! Laurents are born with blades in hand.
show them our teeth.
Okay. That makes things a little bit easier. What was that animation? What?
Hand to the face. Eat up, friend. Like my blade?
I'll stop you. Leave no survivors.
A life well lived.
Yeah, I'm up.
They would fall by my blade.
I suppose.
I have no time for fools.
Beamer.
Justice will be served.
Strength and grace. Beauty in the blade.
It is pretty frustrating that he got exactly that.
Taste the
I
glory.
guess we do it like this.
Eyes bigger.
Oh, that's nice.
Slow down, will you? Flavor and spice.
Wow. Okay.
Matter if no one goes hungry.
I mean, you can't just not block that.
A delicious challenge.
I mean, that doesn't feel correct, but okay. Whew, this is a close one. Really down to the wire.
Can you stomach this?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that... It's such a hard call.
More
It really depends on top decks now. But... Ooh, very nice. I don't know, I'm almost just willing to wait. Nah, we'll just develop it. There's no reason to wait.
You're covered.
I mean, now we can just open attack. GG. Very close one. Whew. That was super close, wow. Okay, so that guy was 172, so let's see what we go up. Alright, I mean, that's fair. GG's, my man. GG's.